guys? Bass drop keys, your friendly neighborhood Negro and a rookie mycologist. I want to welcome you all to my brand new mushroom YouTube channel. Now, if you're watching this, that means that you probably know me from being in the cannabis community. But now what I want to do is I want to teach myself how to grow mushrooms. So everything that you're going to watch on this channel is me doing it for the very first time. I've never grown mushrooms a day in my life. I've only taken mushrooms 3 times in my life, but I've been trying to teach myself the past 6 months on how to do everything, and now I think it's about time for me to jump in and give it a go. So I want to thank you guys for joining the journey with me. All this channel is one person's journey to try to teach themselves how to grow mushrooms. The first thing that I'm doing is I'm cleaning my work area with 70% isopropyl alcohol. The reason why you want to use 70% and not a stronger one is because the stronger ones will evaporate off of the surface too fast. With the 70%, it stays on long enough so that we can actually clean everything and make everything sterile or disinfected. In today's video, I'm going to be trying out the Uncle Ben's tech for the first time. This is a mushroom growing method involving pre-cooked rice sold in plastic pouches. This is a popular technique because you don't have to prepare any jars. The Uncle Ben's rice is already sterile, so that makes it super convenient. What I'm doing now to make sure we don't get any contamination is I'm taking the isopropyl alcohol and I'm spraying it on a paper towel and I'm cleaning the injection port on the bag. I'm also wiping down the syringe itself, the needle pack, and I have some micro pore tape right there. It's very important that you make sure that everything is as clean as can be. Now for this video, I'm not using a steel air box, but I will be making one on the channel. Also, I will be getting a flow hood. What I have here is a Spore syringe. Now you can use a liquid culture if you want to. It will actually colonize faster if you use a liquid culture, but I'm using a Spore syringe this time. So what you see me doing right now is I'm tearing off the micro pore tape and I'm putting it on the corner of the bag. Also earlier when I said injection port on the bag, I just mean where we're going to be actually sticking the syringe in. I'm saying that as an injection port, but obviously these rice bags do not have injection ports. So I've taken the micro pore tape and I've put some on the corner of each bag. That way, whenever we inject it with our spores, we can put the micro pore tape right over the injection site. Before I do that, I'm going to put some more isopropyl alcohol on my hands. You can never be too sterile with everything that we're doing. You can never be too sterile doing this. Also, I want to shout out the channel that I learned this Uncle Ben's tech from, 90-Second Mycology. I don't know if he is the one that came up with this, but that's the channel where I learned how to do it, so I just want to give him a shout out. Right here, what you see me doing is, you see me putting on the needle. There's always going to be a sterile needle that comes with each syringe whenever you purchase it. And you saw the way that I put the needle on the syringe. I made sure that I didn't even touch the cap at all. Whenever you open up the needle, it's going to be sterile, so the first time that you use it, you don't have to worry about flame torching it or anything like that. But we are going to flame torch it every time after we inject each bag. Also, whenever you're flame torching your needle, if any of that black soot gets on your needle, that's sterile too. Don't wipe it off. You can inject inside the bag with the soot on it because that's sterile too. Whenever doing the Uncle Ben tech, they recommend 0.3 to 0.7 cc's of liquid culture or spores. So I'm going to be on the high end of that and do 0.7 to 0.8 cc's in each bag. Once I inject inside the bag, I'm going to put micro pore tape over the injection port to make sure no contamination gets in that little hole we just made. Now, like I said previously, we're going to flame torch the needle in between every use. So we just used it on the first bag. It was already sterile out of the bag, so we didn't have to worry about that. Now that we used it one time, I just flame torched it. I'm going to inject the next bag.
Damn, fancy.
Put the micro pore tape over the hole and repeat the process until all 6 bags are done. So give me 1 second and let me do these other 4 bags. then we'll continue on.
I got a cupid of OG on me. It's on me. I got an ounce of live resin on me. I got my papers and my riggers on me. I got these diamonds and this rosin on me. I got a pint of this syrup on me. It's on me. I got these edible, these gummies on me. I got a pound of moon rocks, it's on me. It's on me. I got a half pound of hashes on me. I got a cupid of OG on me. It's on me. I got an ounce of live resin on me. I got my papers and my riggers on me. I got these diamonds and this rosin on me. I got a pint of this syrup on me. It's on me. I got these edible, these gummies on me. I got a pound of moon rocks, it's on me. It's on me. I got a half a pound of hashes on me. Bass drop keys, baby, it's all on me. It's on me. Anything you want, baby, tell me what you need. I got these shrooms, DMT is on me. It's on me. Eat it one time and watch my ego leave. I got a little LSD, yes, it's on me. Stamp on my tongue and now life feels like a dream. Double stack ecstasy, I got 'em on me. I got THC in my bloodstream. I moved to California, now it's all on me. I'm growing these trees, baby, tell me what you need. My people in New York say they want the sour D. My family in Georgia say they want them cookies. A little psilocybin, yes, I got it on me. I'm smoking and I'm dabbing every day to feel free. A teaspoon, a can of butter in my coffee. 2 tablespoons, a can of sugar in my damn tea. I got a cupid of OG on me. It's on me. I got an ounce of live resin on me. I got my papers and my riggers on me. I got these diamonds and this rosin on me. I got a pint of this syrup on me. It's on me. I got these edible, these gummies on me. I got a pound of moon rocks, it's on me. I got a half pound of hashes on me. I got a cupid of OG on me. It's on me. I got an ounce of live resin on me. I got my papers and my riggers on me. I got these diamonds and this rosin on me. I got a pint of this syrup on me. It's on me. I got these edible, these gummies on me. I got a pound of moon rocks, it's on me. I got a half a pound of hashes on me.
So now that we have all the bags injected, and make sure you're getting the whole grain brown rice from Uncle Ben and not like the Mexican rice. Not that there's anything wrong with it, it's actually really delicious, but when we're doing these mushrooms, you want to get the whole grain brown rice that you see me using in this video. But once we have them injected, it's time for us to do our gas exchange holes. I'm taking a piece of micro pour tape and I'm putting it on each corner. That way, whenever we make our gas exchange holes, we'll be able to cover it with the micro pour tape immediately and not let in any contamination. So there's many ways to do this. The point is to have gas exchange holes in the bag so that way when the CO2 builds up, it has a way for it to exchange out. The first way is the pinch technique. You basically hold the bag just like you would if you're going to open up a bag of chips. What I'm going to do now is I'm taking one of the sterile needles and we're going to flame torch it up and we're going to poke a hole right through there to make our gas exchange holes. I don't know if you can tell, but I tried to do 2 holes, but I actually just did one big one, but that's fine. I'm just going to cover it with the micro pour tape and we're good to go. So some people put 2 holes, 4 holes, 1 hole. This is my first time doing it, so I'm just going to do it a bunch of different ways and see what works for me. And once again, you want to flame sterilize in between each use. So in between each bag, you see I'm using my torch to flame sterilize the needle. Now what I'm doing is I'm just labeling the bags with the date and the strain that I'm working with. Now while we're waiting for the mycelium to start growing, he recommends putting it in a place that's in between 75 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit that gets no direct sunlight. You also want to put it somewhere that's at least waist height, so that way you don't have any contaminants or anything from the floor messing with your grow. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this bin right here. This is going to be my incubation box, and I'm putting it on a shelf close by a bunch of grow tents. So that way the warmth from the grow tents can help keep them in the temperature parameters that we're looking for. Also, you can see that I'm storing my bags laying down. If I was to store the bags straight up and down, any moisture that's inside the bags will pool at the bottom of the bags, and that could turn in some kind of bacteria. I'm laying them down and storing them flat, so that way the moisture can dissipate over the entire bag. In the last video, I showed you my incubation box. As you can see, this is a grow tent. Because you guys know that I'm a 420 YouTuber, I'm very familiar with grow tent setups. And so as I was thinking about needing more space for an incubation box, I was like, how about just put up a grow tent? You can see here that I have a heater at the bottom of it. It has a digital thermometer, that way I can keep it at whatever temperature I want to keep it at, which I'm keeping it in between 75 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. I have it at the bottom of the tent. You know, warm air rises, so that way the whole tent is being warmed up by this little heater. This is a 2'7" by 2'7" tent from Vivo Sun. If you want to get the same tent, I'll put the link and the discount code in the description box. Inside the tent, you can see that I bought a rack here from Amazon. This is a stainless steel rack. On the rack, I have everything that I'm working on. You can see the Uncle Ben's rice that we did. You can see that we've done some grain spawn bags right there. You see the mushroom supplies all in one bag at the bottom shelf. And you can see the Michael Hoss grow bag. Also, that pouch that you see on the side, that is a GoV humidity meter. It works with an app on my phone. So that way I can keep track of exactly the temperature and the humidity inside of this tent at all times. I do want to shout out the channel that I got all my incubation box knowledge from, 90-Second Mycology. If you guys have not subscribed to his channel, I will put it in the description box. Check out his channel. He has a lot of great information on there. Even though I'm an established YouTuber in the 420 community, I'm brand new to the mushroom community. So I appreciate him coming through on my last video and showing me some love. That meant a lot. I really appreciate it. So I inoculated the Uncle Ben's rice on October the 30th. This is 6 days later. This is day 9 since they've been inoculated. Through the viewing window at the bottom of the bag, you can see the mycelium growth. And it's really just tripping me out that this really is working. This is day 12, and you can see that the mycelium is really growing even more. More and more of the viewing window is being taken up by the mycelium, and as I feel the bags, I can feel that they're hardening up, letting me know that the mycelium growth is going up the rice. And that brings us to today, which is 15 days since they've been inoculated. What I'm doing is I'm spraying 70% isopropyl alcohol on my hands. Also, whenever I open up the tent, I always spray it a couple times inside the tent too. What we're going to be doing today is called the break and shake part of the Uncle Ben's tech. It's whenever you have at least 20 to 30% of your grain colonized, you come in and you break up the mycelium. What that does is it gives us more inoculation points, which means it's going to colonize even faster. So no matter if you're using the Uncle Ben's tech with the Uncle Ben bags right here, or you're using grain or popcorn or whatever it is that you're using as your grain spawn, whenever you see that it's 20 to 30% colonized, you want to break it up. And by doing this, we get more inoculation points, and that's going to actually make it colonize even faster. So that's what we're going to do today. You can see by the footage that I'm showing you that the mycelium has grown a lot in the past couple days. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up the bag and I'm going to break it and shake it. The actual breaking and shaking actually refers whenever you have grain spawn in a jar. You could break up the mycelium just by shaking the jar, but because we're using the Uncle Ben's tech, it's more like a squish and mix. All you're going to do is you're going to squish up the rice. You're going to feel that it's a little hard. Your mycelium makes the rice hard, so you can feel where you need to break it up. And you just want to mix everything up inside the bag. Basically what I'm doing is I'm using my thumb to hold right above the gas exchange, so that way I don't have any rice that's really coming up and touching the gas exchange. But other than that, I'm just taking my hand and I'm just squishing up the rice, breaking up that mycelium all throughout the rice. And then whenever you finish breaking it up, it should look something like this. Now that I have that done, I'm going to put it on the rack and I'm going to do the rest of the bags. But before I do the rest of the bags, let me give you a good look at how it looks before and after you do it. So you can see what we've done is we just broke up all the mycelium and we're trying to make sure that it's incorporated all throughout the bag. That's going to make the bag colonize faster, and we can take this and we can spawn to bulk, which we'll be doing in a future video. So guys, now you can see that I have all the bags done. Whenever I inoculated the bags, I didn't use a liquid culture. I used a multi-spore syringe. These syringes that I've been using have really been fantastic. Everything is working. So we did the break and shake on day 15. This is day 17. It's only been 2 days since we did the break and shake, and you can see through the viewing window at the bottom of the bags that the colonization of the rice has sped up. All those inoculation points that we created by doing the break and shake are really working, and right now we're having a vigorous growth of the mycelium. It's day 19, and I'm continuing to maintain the temperature in between 75 and 81 degrees Fahrenheit as the mycelium continues to grow. It's day 22, and some of the viewing windows are starting to fill up. All right, so it's day 24, 9 days since we did the break and shake. And you can see that the front row, the entire rice cake has been fully colonized. The ones in the back have been fully colonized as well, except there's 2 of them, that one right there, and then the one that's on the very end on the left, they still has some loose grains that I can feel, that one right there. But everything else is fully colonized and pretty much rock hard and ready to go to the next step. The next step, once your grain is fully colonized, whatever grain you're using, is you're gonna mix it with your bulk substrate. Just recently here on the channel, we made our bulk substrate. That's what you see me doing right now. So what we're doing today is, it's called spawn to bulk, which means that we're gonna take our colonized grain, which is our rice, and we're gonna mix it with our bulk substrate. So that way the bulk substrate can colonize and we'll be able to grow our mushrooms. And real quickly here, I do want to shout out the place that I got this information, Philly Golden Teacher. If you guys haven't subscribed to his channel and you're interested in mushrooms, definitely subscribe to his channel. He has a lot of great information that anybody who wants to grow mushrooms can really use. To do this, some people use big mono tubs. Some people like to use what they call shoeboxes, which is just shoebox size plastic containers that you can mix the substrate in and let the mushrooms grow in there. What you're looking at right here is a 12-quart shoebox. Normally, whenever somebody is talking about a shoebox, they're talking about the 6-quart containers. This is a 12-quart. But no matter if you're using a 6-quart, 12-quart, a big mono tub, max yield bin, whatever you're using, the process is going to be the same. So the first thing that I'm doing, as you guys can see, is I want to make sure that I wipe down everything with the 70% iso alcohol. So I sprayed my gloves, I sprayed the inside of the bin, the scissors, the trash bag that you're going to see in just a second, even the Uncle Ben bags that we colonize. Make sure everything is clean before you start. So now that we have everything clean, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take my trash bag and we're going to use this trash bag as a liner. Trash bags are really cheap and they work perfect for this application. So I sprayed the trash bag with the ISO, put it inside of the 12-quart container, and then I wiped down everything. I didn't want the ISO just sitting in there, but you do want to have everything sterilized and clean. Now that we have the liner taken care of, the next thing that we have to do is we have to open up our rice bags, which I'm excited to do. In the beginning of this video, I showed you the process of how we got here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut the top of the bag and open it up. I do want to mention that before I open up the bag, I did grab a mask that I had here at the house. The reason I did that is I've read so much and seen so many videos about people accidentally inhaling some contaminated spores, and that can make you very sick. So just in case there's some contamination in here that I don't see, because this is my first time, I don't want to get sick. So right now I do have on a mask just to help out. So as you look through the viewing window, you can see that everything looks colonized. I cut open the bag and look at this. There's still some rice in here that hadn't been colonized. I would say 90% of all the rice in here has already been colonized, but no matter, I'm still going to use this anyway. I don't smell anything sweet or anything sour or anything like that. If you smell something sweet or you smell something, some funky kind of smell, that means that your rice is contaminated. You should smell like an earthy mushroom type of smell. And I know whenever I was watching videos on how to do this, I was like, well, what did that smell like? But trust me, whenever you inoculate your grain and your mycelium starts growing, you'll be able to smell it. It has a great earthy smell to it that I'm already loving. So as you can see, I have the first bag poured out. You can see that big mycelium ball right there. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to break it up. We want to break everything up as much as we can. To break this up is not too much work. You just want to break it up into small pieces, back into small grains if you can. Once I do that, I'm going to do 2 more bags. This is my first time doing this, as I told you guys, so I really don't know how many bags I should do for each container. So we're just going to try it out and see what happens. On this first container, I'm doing 3 bags. So I open up the other 2, but once I get them opened up, I do the same thing. I'm just breaking it up with my hands. Remember that I did spray down my hands with ISO. You want to make sure that everything is clean. One question that nobody can answer for me that I've been asking is, you guys know that mushrooms grow on logs and manure and all type of stuff. But whenever we're not in nature and we're growing them inside, everything is always so sterile and everything. I'm like, well, why do we gotta be so sterile and clean if they grow outside in manure? You know what I'm saying? Nobody can answer that, but hey, I'm just following the rules of the industry, trying to be as clean as I can. So once you have your grain inside the liner and you have everything broke up, now it's time for us to add our substrate. Now in Philly Golden Teacher's video, he just eyeballed it and put in some handfuls and mixed it together. I was trying to give you guys like a definite amount of what you should use. So this once again is a 12-quart shoebox. I used 3 bags of rice. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna put in 2 quarts of substrate. That's 8 cups. Once I have the substrate in there, I'm gonna mix everything together well. It's very important that you have your rice broke up as much as possible. We're making a little cake right here. Now, some people like to do it like lasagna and do layers, but from all the research that I've done and by looking at other people that I respect, that's not necessary. You just wanna put the substrate in there with the grain, mix it together well, making sure that all the grain is broke up. You can see we have that done, no problem. Once that's done, we're gonna put a casing layer of our substrate on top. You wanna make sure that none of the grain is showing. Now, some people will say that this is not a true casing layer. They will call it a pseudo casing, but at any rate, we're gonna add a casing layer, and you want your casing layer to be like 1/8 of an inch to 1/2 inch thick. So now that I have the casing layer on there, what I'm doing is I wanna make everything even. So I'm just patting it down lightly. You don't wanna pack it tight, but you wanna pack it lightly and try to make it even. That's gonna help us whenever the mushrooms start growing and everything starts pinning. Oh, by the way, I don't think I mentioned it earlier, but the reason why I'm using a liner is because we don't want to have to worry about side pins. As the mycelium starts colonizing the substrate, you're going to notice that it's going to start drying out, and the side of the cake will not be touching the side of the container. And if the substrate is not touching the container, that means that air can get in there, and that will be a place that mushrooms will want to grow, and that's what's going to give us side pins. That's what we're trying to avoid. We want the mushrooms to grow on the top. So now that we have the casing layer on there and we have everything even, the next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna trim up the liner. Remember that I did wipe down the scissors with the iso alcohol. So now I'm just trimming up that excess trash bag so that it's not in the way. Once you cut that away, bam, you have a fantastic liner and your substrate and grain spawn inside of your container. The last thing that we need to do before we put the lid on this is we're gonna mist it with some water. Now what I have is this Flairosol bottle. It's an ultra fine mister. So I'm just gonna mist the top of the substrate. You don't wanna have water just sitting on top of the substrate. That's why we're using a fine mister. But you wanna make sure that there's moisture and humidity inside of here. That's what's gonna help the colonization and the mushrooms whenever we get to that part of it. Basically what you're doing right now is, you know how we got the rice to colonize? What we're doing now is we're making that a bigger cake so that way we can get more mushrooms. Also, I do want to mention that I do spray water on the underside of the lid as well. So you spray the top of your bulk substrate. You want to spray the bottom of your lid. And then once you put your lid on there, you're not going to open it up. You're going to put it back in your incubation box or wherever you have that you're doing it at, and you're going to keep it closed. We want to give it 7 to 10 days or 14 days in order to colonize the entire substrate. One thing that you do want to do is you want to make sure that you label everything, especially if you're going to be working with different strains. But on my label, what I have is the kind of mushrooms that I'm growing, the date that I actually did the work and put it in there. Also, I have how many bags I used. So whenever we get to the actual growing of the mushrooms or we start doing our flushes, and maybe I'll notice that, hey, this one with 2 bags did better with this one with 3 bags, or, you know, however it is. I just want to make sure I have all the information so that going forward, I can make the right decision on how to get my harvest bigger or just grow better mushrooms. All right, guys, so what you're looking at right now is my incubation box or incubation tent, whatever you want to say. It's really a tent, but it is an incubation box. You can see we have a lot of things going on inside of here. You can also see that I have 3 different 12-quart shoe boxes inside of this tent. One of them is the one that you just saw the footage from. We did that one on December the 2nd. The other 2 I did 3 days later on December the 5th. The one that I did on December 2nd has 3 bags of rice in it. The other 2 has 4 bags of rice. Other than that, the only difference in the tubs is the one that I did on December the 2nd, all of the uncolonized rice I left inside the cake. In the next tub, most of the uncolonized rice I poured out, but I did leave a little uncolonized rice inside the cake as well. Then on the 3rd and final tub, it's the one that has the dot right next to the 4 bags. That was the last one that I did. There is no uncolonized rice in it whatsoever. Whenever I did the spawn to bulk, all of the rice that went inside here is colonized. All of it, 100%. As I stated in the intro of the video, what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be putting our 12-quart shoe boxes in the fruiting conditions. All right, so I got my little table inside the tent. That way we got something to put our shoe boxes on. Let's go ahead and grab the first tub. It's the one that we did on December the 2nd that I put 3 bags in. I do want to mention that I have not opened up these tubs at all since I put them in here. I did the spawn to bulk. I put them in the incubation box and I have not looked at them. I have not opened them up one time at all. And honestly, I should have did this like a week ago, but the past week has been really busy for me. I harvested like 8 tents that's inside the house, so it's been really busy. But let's go ahead and open up the first one and see what we got. Oh no. Well, damn. Well, obviously this is contaminated. You can see that right side looks really good with the mycelium growth. That's fully colonized, but the entire left side is full of contamination. Man, so let me go ahead and put the lid back on here and get this out of the way. We want to close this up and dispose of this ASAP. That way none of those spores gets in the air, you know what I mean? Well, damn, wasn't expecting that. But remember, that was the tub that had uncolonized rice inside of there. Maybe that's the reason why I got contaminated. Let's go to the next tub. This next tub is one of the ones that has the 4 bags in it. This tub doesn't have the dot next to the 4, so that means it has a little bit of uncolonized rice in there, but not that much. Let's check it out. So as I'm looking at it, I'm seeing all of the great colonization that's going on with the substrate. But then as I look a little bit closer, I see some contamination on here. Check this out. So you can clearly see that there's a patch of green right there. That is contamination for sure. That definitely looks like some trichoderma. Remember we talked about that in the last contamination video that we did. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the lid on this and get this out of here and get rid of this as well. If you're wondering how I got rid of it, I put both of the cakes in a plastic bag and then I triple bagged it. And then instead of putting it in my trash at the house, I actually drove it to a dumpster. That brings us to our last shoebox. This shoebox has 4 bags of rice in it, but with this one, there is no uncolonized rice in here at all. All the rice that went inside here was 100% colonized. Let's check it out. Well, I'm looking at it and I'm inspecting it more because you know we just had that one patch on the other cake. but as I inspect this cake, there's no contamination on here at all. Now, to put your shoebox or your tub into fruiting conditions, most people recommend that you wait till the cake is 70% to 80% colonized, but I have seen plenty of people that didn't let it colonize at all. As soon as they spawn to bulk, they put it into fruiting conditions and they've been able to grow mushrooms that way as well. It looks like my cake is not 80% colonized, but we're gonna go ahead and put it into fruiting conditions right now. I don't want to take the chance that something's gonna get contaminated, so let's go ahead and put it into fruiting conditions right now. Once you have your cake 70 to 80% colonized, all you want to do is you want to take your Flairosol bottle and you want to mist your cake with the Flairosol bottle. You don't want to have just pools of water sitting on top of the substrate with your mycelium, but you want to see little beads of water on top of your cake. What actually activates the pinning process in the mushrooms is the evaporation of the water off the mycelium along with that fresh air. So we just put a little bit of water, we misted the mycelium with the water, so that takes care of that part of it. Now we need to handle the fresh air part of it. And how we do that is we're going to flip the lid and we're going to put the lid upside down on top of here. That way it forms a gap, and that gap is going to let our fresh air exchange, FAE. As that fresh air, that passive fresh air happens, that's going to evaporate those water droplets off the top of the mycelium, and that's going to induce the pinning. So what I did is the top of the shoebox, I cleaned that with 70% iso alcohol because I don't know what dust or spores or what is on top of there. I cleaned that off because we're going to spray that with water and we're going to turn it upside down. Put it back on the container and you can see how there's a gap right there. That's our passive fresh air exchange right there. Now our shoebox is in fruiting conditions. And the main thing that you want to do now is you just want to keep an eye on it. You don't want your cake to dry out, but you want to keep an eye on it and make sure that there's humidity inside of here. But also make sure that you keep that gap, allow that fresh air to pass through, and within 7 days or so, we should start seeing the pinning. Once I start seeing the pinning, I will change the top. This gray lid I'm going to take off, and I'm going to form a dub tub, which is I'm going to take one of the same 12-quart shoe boxes that you see right here. I'm going to take an empty one and I'm going to put it on top. The reason I'm doing that is light will be able to get through the top of a dub tub, not the gray lid. Also, that makes room so that the mushrooms actually have room to grow, and we still get to have a lid on there. That way it's still keeping in the humidity, giving us the perfect conditions for our mushrooms to grow. So today what we did is we put our shoebox into fruiting conditions. As I'm looking at everything that's inside this tent, the incubation box, it reminds me of a comment that somebody left on one of the videos. He said that he was surprised that I had so much product even before my first block started to fruit. And my answer to him was, this is how I fast forward my education, by having so much product to work with. Also, I am guaranteeing myself some mushrooms. If I would have did just 1 or 2 shoe boxes, then I wouldn't be able to go to the next step. I would have been stuck and I would have had to start all the way from the beginning with inoculating the grain and doing everything all over again. We lost 2 shoe boxes. I still was able to fruit the third, and you can see inside the tent here, I have all kind of colonized grain and rice already in here, ready to go. This channel is called The Rookie Mycologist. I am a rookie. This is my first time doing all this stuff, so I'm not getting discouraged at all. I actually thought that I would have to deal with even more contamination that I already had to deal with. I knew that every tub wasn't going to make it to the end. I have a lot of product. That way I should be able to get some kind of harvest. All right, guys, so let's check on this tub. I put this tub in the fruiting conditions. Let's check it out. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, that's a pin right there. I don't know if you guys can see it, but right over there in that top corner, there's a pin right there. I can see it. Oh, hell yeah. So this right here is the part where I'm nervous, because as you guys know, this is my first time doing this. And so I can see one little pin right there. Let me see if I can get you guys a little shot of it. right there in the middle. Can you see it? That's a pin right there. Those are pins. But now that we got pins starting to form, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another tub just like this one, and I'm going to put it on top of here. Instead of using this lid, I'm going to do a dub tub, and I'm going to put another one on top of here. And also I'm going to put this in the fruiting chamber that I have. All right, so this footage is from January 1st, 9 days since putting the tub in the fruiting conditions. Let's check out the pins now. You can see that I did put a dub tub on top of the mono tub. I did take my Flairosol bottle and spray the inside of the dub tub with water. You can also see that I have a light inside of my fruiting chamber. Now this is a 650 watt light, but you definitely don't need that much wattage for mushrooms. I have this light programmed at 10%, so there's only 65 watts that's being used, and I do have it on 12 hours a day. It's now 2 days later, January the 3rd. Let's check them out. You can see that they are getting bigger and bigger. This is just really tripping me out that this is actually working and I'm actually growing mushrooms. Super cool. All right, so let's fast forward 2 more days. It's January the 5th. Let's check out their progress now. Well, man, look at this. You can see that they are getting like more girthy, and they have gotten a little bit more taller. Also, you can see on some of them, they have a little bit of fuzzy feet, which means that we're having a little buildup of the CO2. So what I did is I just increased the gap. The dub tub, the one that's on the top, I slid it back further just to increase the gap to let in more air. All right, so let's fast forward 2 more days. It's now January the 7th, or yesterday. Man, check this out right here. They grew so fast. In all honesty, I should have checked in on them yesterday. You can see that now we're already going to have a late harvest. When you really want to harvest the mushrooms is, you see that veil that's underneath the cap? You can see how it's already torn and it's already like partially down the stem or the stipe. You want to harvest your mushrooms whenever that veil is about to tear or when it just tears. You can see here that the veil has already torn and the mushrooms have already sporulated, which just means they dropped their spores. You see those dark patches on top of the caps? That's not the natural color of the mushrooms. That is spores sitting on top of the caps. So I should have came in and checked the mushrooms yesterday. I'm just so busy here at the house with everything that's going on that I've been checking in on the mushrooms every 2 days. And so now because of that, we're going to have a late harvest, but we still should be good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to harvest our mushrooms. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to spray my hands with 70% iso alcohol. I always do this before I start handling the mushrooms or the bags or anything in any way. I always spray my hands with 70% iso alcohol. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to wipe down the tools that I'm going to be using. I do have a scalpel right here with disposable blades that I'm going to clean. We're going to be using that. Also, I will be using some scissors, so I'm cleaning those and wiping those down with the 70% iso alcohol. Now to harvest our mushrooms, I'm using basically 2 techniques. The first technique is the pull and twist. It's basically where you take the mushroom by the base of it near the substrate and you basically twist it and pull it, and a lot of times it'll just come right off for you, just like this. Check it out. And you can see with this particular mushroom right here that the veil underneath is just about to break, so we're actually harvesting this mushroom the perfect time. So for all the ones that I can just pull and twist, I'm going to do that. For the rest of them, oh, look at that mushroom right there. The veil just tore with that one. It just broke, so we harvest that one at the right time as well. But anyway, besides the pull and twist technique, what you also can do is you can cut it right at the base. You can use the scalpel or your scissors to cut it right at the base of it. If by chance you have some substrate on the bottom of the stem, all you have to do is just take your scissors and just cut that piece off into your trash can. So those are the 2 different techniques that I use to harvest the mushrooms. Pull and twist and cut it at the bottom. It's pretty simple. Now that you see how I'm doing the harvest, give me 1 second and let me harvest all the mushrooms out of here. Oh, by the way, I do want to mention that while I'm doing this harvest, I'm taking the little pins as well. I'm not leaving any of the mushrooms in here. The big ones, obviously I'm harvesting those, but the little small pins, I'm going to take those and harvest those as well. Give me 1 second and let me get this done.
Bass, drop keys, baby, it's all on me. It's on me. Anything you want, baby, tell me what you need. I got these shrooms, DMT is on me. It's on me. Eat it one time and watch my ego leave. I got a little LSD, yes, it's on me. Yes, it's on me. Stamp on my tongue and now life is like a dream. Double stack ecstasy, I got 'em on me. I got THC in my bloodstream. I moved to California, now it's all on me. It's on me. Growing these trees, baby, tell me what you need. My people in New York say they want the sour D. My family in Georgia say they want them cookies. A little psilocybin, yes, I got it on me. I'm smoking and I'm dabbing every day to feel free. A teaspoon of can of butter in my coffee. 2 tablespoons of can of sugar in my damn tea. I got a cupid of OG on me.
All right, so we got everything harvested. Let's take a look at them. Look how beautiful they are. Now what we need to do is we need to rinse them off before we put them inside the dehydrator. So now that we're in the kitchen, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the scissors and the ones that were bundled together, I'm going to cut those into separate mushrooms. After that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rinse off most of the spores that's on top of the caps. For the type of mushrooms that I grew right here, the normal color of this mushroom is a light whitish color. I was able to get some additional color on top of the caps by using the light, but the light is not necessary. So all I'm doing right now is I'm just rinsing off the mushrooms. It's pretty self-explanatory. And once I have all of them rinsed off, we're gonna put them in the dehydrator. So here I am putting the mushrooms on one of the dehydrator trays. When I got finished filling up the tray, I realized that because of the caps, they wouldn't fit on the tray. I wouldn't be able to put any more trays on the top. So what I end up doing is I end up having to cut the caps off of all the stems and lay them down. Whenever I did that, I was able to fit all the mushrooms on the different trays so we can start the dehydrating process. I also want to point out that this is my first time using this dehydrator, but because of the space in between the trays, I did go back over to Amazon and I bought a brand new dehydrator. Whenever I get the new dehydrator in a week, I will do a video on the different dehydrators. This one did work fine. It's just the space that's in between the trays. It's not that big. So if you decide to get this machine, I'll put the link in the description. Just know that you will have to cut the caps off your stems in order to dehydrate them. I also will put the link for the new dehydrator inside the description box. The new dehydrator that's coming is a Presto, and it has a lot of space in the trays, so you can put full mushrooms in there without cutting the caps off or anything. It'll fit in there perfect. But anyway, now that I have the mushrooms on the trays and I have them set up on the dehydrator, what you want to do for the first cycle is you want to put it at 165 degrees Fahrenheit for 6 hours and then come back and check on your mushrooms. Now this dehydrator does not go to 165. The highest that it goes is 158. So I'm going to put it on 158 for 6 hours, let it do the entire cycle, then come back and check on them. I'll see you guys in 6 hours. All right, so it's been 6 hours and the mushrooms that's on the bottom tray, the one that's closer to the heating element, they're already dry and ready to go. The ones that's on the top trays, the top 2 trays, they still need more time, but the ones that's on the bottom tray, they're definitely ready to go. How you know they're ready to go is they should be dry just like a cracker. And so whenever you take one of the dried mushrooms and break it, you can definitely tell. Check it out. So now that the bottom tray is dry, I'm going to go ahead and remove the mushrooms from the dehydrator. While we're doing this, let's go ahead and weigh it up and see exactly what we got. The rest of the mushrooms that's inside the dehydrator, I'm going to let go for another hour and a half. So you can see the dried mushrooms right here. Let's go ahead and put them on the scale and see exactly what we have. So for this first tray, we ended up with 11.6 grams of dried mushrooms. Hell yeah. Take a look at how great they look. Awesome. But anyway, the rest of the mushrooms ended up going for another hour and a half. After another hour and a half, they were ready to go. They were dried, and now we can weigh them up and see what we got. So after I took the other mushrooms off the other 2 trays and weighed them up, the other 2 trays ended up being 25.6 grams of dried mushrooms. When you add that to the 11.6 that we got before, the total for my very first flush is 37.2 grams of dried mushrooms. Hell yeah, that's over an ounce. 37.2 grams. And I gotta say, yesterday I took a gram just to try them out, and all I'm gonna say is I'm very happy with the results. I can officially say that I know how to grow mushrooms now. I have so much more to learn, and I'm gonna keep trying to learn more and more each day. Now that I've done that, let's set this up for our second flush. It's really easy to do. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let some water, this is regular tap water, I'm putting water inside the tub, and I'm gonna do it till it's a little over halfway full. Once that happens, I'm gonna take my other tub, the one that I had on the top, the dub tub, I'm gonna flip it over, put it on top of the cake, and I'm gonna put water inside of here. We're just doing this to make sure that the cake is submerged in water. Now, if you have a gallon of water or something heavy that you can put inside of the dub tub, that'll work just fine. I didn't have anything readily available, so I'm just using water. Now that we have the cake submerged, I'm gonna leave it submerged for 6 hours. For everybody that watched my first flush video, you'll know that whenever I was drying the mushrooms, the first cycle that I did was for 6 hours. While the mushrooms were drying and dehydrating, at the same time I was rehydrating my cake in the sink right next to it. But anyway, it's been 6 hours now. I'm just gonna pour the water out of my dub tub. Once I do that, I'm gonna pour the water out of my main mono tub. You can just hold the cake to make sure that it doesn't come out. Now that that's done, all you're gonna do is you're gonna put it back wherever you were fruiting at before. Go ahead and put it back in the same place, and you're gonna set it back in the fruiting conditions. So all I did was I took my Flairosol bottle, I missed the inside of the dub tub again. On the main mono tub at the bottom, I missed the walls. I left a gap, that way we would have fresh air exchange. And I set this tub back in fruiting conditions for our second flush. So you can see how easy it is to rehydrate your cake. If you have any questions about anything, put them in the comments section. So I did the harvest on January the 7th. This is January the 12th. I noticed that the dub tub on top was completely dry, so I sprayed it with my Flairosol bottle and put it back on the mono tub. It is now 2 days later, January the 14th, and if you look closely, you can see some contamination right there on the cake. So what I'm going to start doing, because I'm so new, you guys know I'm a rookie, I want to try out different methods to see if they will work. So that way, if we do get some contamination, we don't have to throw everything out. The first method that I'm going to try is I'm just going to try to scoop out the contaminated area. The next time that I get some contamination, I'm going to try out the hydrogen peroxide method, but this time I'm just going to try to scoop it out. So what I did is I took a spoon and I cleaned it with the 70% iso alcohol. After that, I just scooped out the contaminated area and I threw it away. After I did that, I put the dub tub back on the top and put it back in the chamber and waited to see what happens. It is now 24 hours later, January the 15th. Let's take a look at it. As you can see, the contamination is spreading, so scooping it out did not work. So unfortunately, what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to throw this out, and my first Uncle Ben's Tech Grow is gonna end right here. Now I do wanna point out that if I was staying at this house, then I would take this cake and I would plant it outside. If you do that, it's possible that you still will get some mushrooms. But being that I'm about to get another house, I did not do that, but I do want you guys to know that that is a possibility. So the different contaminated cakes that you guys have seen me throw away, if you live somewhere where you have a backyard that you can bury something, go ahead and bury that cake, wait a week or two, and you might just have you some mushrooms. that's going to do it for today's video. I want to thank all of you for supporting the channel. Thank you guys so much for following my journey. Now, before I get out of here, you guys have probably noticed the sweet shirt that I'm wearing. This is the Rookie All Over shirt. If you want to support me and the channel, come over to the merch website, therookiemycologist.com. I have some great shirt designs, mugs, hoodies, slides, stickers, and I'm adding new stuff all the time. Also, before I get up out of here, obviously you guys know that my channel was deleted and that sucks. If you're interested in seeing all of my past mycology videos and all of my future mycology videos, I'm still making videos. Come over to my website. If you're one of the thousands of people who said that they started growing because of me, or I helped you out in some way as far as mycology, come over to my website, bassdropkeys.tv. Support your boy. I still am making mycology videos, so come over and check it out, bassdropkeys.tv. I really appreciate all of you. And until I see you guys the next time, I'm out, guys. Much love.